Welcome to Photo Finds. I'm your host, Kevin Yee. Let's get started this week at Disney's Hollywood Studios, where we notice a little bit of minor construction going on the outside of Disney Junior. This is just part of the usual cycle of upkeep and renewal that they do at attractions throughout the parks. Just across the way at the Voyage of the Little Mermaid, this is a live-action stage show and puppet show, as you can see here. This is not the sort of show I see week by week, and so it's probably been a couple of years since I've been here. I have no idea how long this rock has been broken. This is the last scene of the show when Ariel usually rises up out of it, and then her tail is kind of stripped off of her rather quickly. Now she just hides behind the rock, and then after Triton converts her to a human, she just kind of twirls away from it. So either the effect is broken or temporarily broken, but I found it interesting. At Toy Story Midway Mania, this is the end of the evening where they've inflated the standby wait time. It was really only about 5 minutes, not 60. That's sort of update number one to give you. Update number two is that this right-hand staircase, when you're in the very last part of the queue, which used to be the single rider line, now appears to be something called a double rider line. And the person at the front who decides which line you go in might ask you to go into the right-hand line instead of the left-hand line, because this way they're not leaving some rows empty when they have larger parties. So I'm not certain whether that works to your advantage or disadvantage, but it is something new to report. Haven't seen these little projections. This is on Hollywood Boulevard at the very entrance/exit of the park. Haven't seen these projections before, but they've probably just been there, and I'm not usually at this park deep into the night. Star Wars Weekends is coming soon, and we've got sort of the more popular merchandise options shown here. And this is Huey, Dewey, and Louie as Jawas, and then the Muppets also have a line this year in the Star Wars. This is the update or the ongoing upgrading of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, and as you can see, they've taken the walls down here in some respects. They're almost rebuilding this queue area from scratch. Here's another view of it. You can see they've really kind of stripped it down to the bare walls and rebuilt the walls on top of that. Here you are. Once another view from the side, and we're switching over to Storybook Land Circus and the Fantasyland expansion. And I call your attention to these circus animals poking their heads over the side of the wall. This is near the Barnstormer. That's the Barnstormer on our left. And since I've last been here, they've also put a new skin on top of this tent, which is now a blue tent. The red tent, the one just behind it, will still be used for for character meetings, meet and greets, and the blue tent will be still a shop. Now they've got a double-walled tent, which both provides some insulation so they can so that they can make it air-conditioned, as well as give them this ability to put these little kind of bars that stick out front here to make it look like this is an actual tent being held up by pylons underneath. It also makes it a little bit more hurricane proof. There's a close-up of some of the Casey Jr. Splash Zone animals that are on top of the Casey Jr. cars. This is a view forward and into the rest of Fantasyland, and you see the Seven Dwarfs Mine Coaster taking shape with a few more pylons that have been added since we've last been here. As we're walking out of the land, another look back. There's going to be another third tent in the back here, a yellow tent, and we haven't heard exactly what's going on or going into there. This is the second Dumbo, and as you can see, it matches the look and feel of the newest Dumbo just across the way from it, which is to say they're not just reproducing the original Dumbo in its new location. This is more of a remake of the Dumbo. Another view of the Beast Castle with some additional theming from Under the Sea Little Mermaid ride in the foreground. This is a further back view of that same zone. These are the front caves that have been added somewhat recently, and they're still painting on these caves here on the side. More views of the Seven Dwarfs Mine Coaster, and now we're standing next to the Mad Tea Party, so you can see a view a little bit more panoramic-wise. And we've pointed this out before, that the coaster will be blocking the view of Under the Sea, at least when you come around the corner originally. This is by design so that the entire park, or this part of the park, feels a little bit more like Disney's Animal Kingdom, where there's a sense of discovery as you go around corners. The Winnie the Pooh queue, or the perhaps meet and greet area, they haven't announced it publicly yet, which was the Tigger Bounce Zone right behind this wall here, hasn't seen any visible activity, although this wall is now on top of this brick wall. It was actually in front of it previously, so that's a change within the past week. And we're continuing our trip around Fantasyland here. There are several views of the pylons to show you, and then a view back towards the tents. And then after we get past these pylons, we're going to see some construction going on with the back wall of the castle courtyard. This is in the home of the old Dumbo, or the old home of Dumbo, original home of Dumbo. And you can see they've got kind of a steel structure here that's almost jutting out into the walkway. It's really coming quite close, and these walkway walls have moved closer and closer back towards the restaurants nearby. And so this is now a little bit of a choke point, and these wall constructions here are coming rather close. And this is apparently a temporary wall next to the carousel as well, so that this is a fairly narrow passageway into Fantasyland at the moment. The other side of Fantasyland, the former Skyway home, this is a view from the Columbia Harbor House. And as you see, they've built a kind of a retaining wall in the back here. You'll be able to see that as well from the Haunted Mansion side. And what is coming here certainly are restrooms, possibly a character greeting zone. That hasn't been announced publicly either way. The Cinderella Fountain lost its arches not too long ago. Just a quick photo to show that the arches have returned. A quick photo at the front of the park to verify that, in fact, the Sunshine Tree Terrace poster is on both tunnels. It's on both sides. This is on the side closest to the Tomorrowland side tunnel. On the other side tunnel, it's next to City Hall, so it's all the way in the end. The Walt Disney World Railroad Station in Frontierland used to house, in the last little show scene right before you get on, this shelf up here would be a wooden leg, and it had the name Smith across it. So it was a joke from Mary Poppins, a wooden leg named Smith, and it made it there through many years, but it's apparently gone now. One wonders if that was a prop joke that was never really approved by Imagineering. Another view of the Big Thunder construction. You can see the town being worked on there, as well as the up-ramp. Now, these handles, this railing, is joined by railings around the outside here as well. You'll find that there are railings now on pretty much every surface of Big Thunder. As they come back up from refurbishment, they will have kind of an always covered walkway, or always guarded walkway in case of evacuation, something that happened as well recently at Disneyland's Alice in Wonderland ride. And this isn't brand new, but I haven't gotten around to taking a picture of it yet. They've rethemed the water tower at the Fantasyland station, or the Storybookland Circus station. Now it looks old and rustic. The Meet Rapunzel area has closed down. It's behind these walls, as you can see here, and they're meeting Rapunzel in Town Square now, and they haven't really done any work in this zone for what's coming next. Here we are at PhilharMagic, Mickey's PhilharMagic, and I draw your attention to this covered device here, which if you touch it has kind of a ball or crystal ball at the top, on top of a post. There's another one of these at Space Mountain, and then you can see the cuts in the walkway there where they had to cut up the concrete to run conduit out to that spot. And again at the Haunted Mansion, and the reverse angle of the mansion shows you the same thing. They've had to cut into the concrete. These are for xPass, which is the internal company name for what is now being called Fastpass Plus. The idea is ride reservations before you leave your house, before you go on vacation. You would display your card, or maybe it's going to be a wristband here, and through RFID, it verifies you are who you say you are, you've made your reservations ahead of time, and you jump to the front of the line. They will have two of these in each location, one at the front to let you in, and then another one just before the attraction to verify that you didn't just cut in line like they have with the Fastpass. That's why they let you in early and then merge you much later. Here's another view of the Haunted Mansion line, and as you can see, what this functionally means is they've had to create another line into the attraction. So some rides, like Space Mountain, might have 3 lines. A back view of the Haunted Mansion, and as you can see, this is that construction wall, which is matched by the retaining wall for more kind of holding of a hill on the side here. The bathrooms are going to be on the other side of that cutout. In Liberty Square, the riverboat Liberty Bell has been down for rehab. It's in dry dock, way deep in backstage at the moment. Enjoyed this. Operating today, and this is supposed to be the operating hours. Not operating today. New Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom signs appeared some weeks ago. This is one I haven't taken a picture of before. Hall of Presidents is to my left. It's pointing us to the back station where there's another delivery podium. And this is a view from the bridge from the castle into Liberty Square, also pointing us to that podium, which is over to the right. This arrow is actually facing the wrong way. As we head out of the Magic Kingdom, here's a couple of views of the DVC construction going on. This is in the outside of the monorail loop next to the Grand Floridian. Now, this has probably been here for some weeks. We're at Epcot now from Guest Relations. This is a wall with a few of these Leave a Legacy images that were taken down from the kind of mausoleum installation up at the front. They just didn't have any other place to put them, so they ended up there next to Guest Relations. A little odd placement. The Vision House opened last week, and this week the Habit Heroes construction walls moved outward into the walkway a little bit more. And they've also now enclosed in the exit area, which was not closed in last week. So apparently there's some active work going on with Habit Heroes. The Vision House, after its official opening, also added this kids' play area, a little play house right in front of the Vision House. Kids under 48 inches are welcome to play around there. Tutto Italia is reopening on May 1st, and the wine cellar right next to it, Tutto Gusto, will be opening as well. And as you can see here, they've got kind of a redesigned facade for Tutto Italia, and you can kind of get a sense of the progression of time here. This is the original 1982 facade, and the more recent facades are a little bit simpler and plainer in nature. It's cheerleading time, or dance squad time, at the parks, and so here we are at World Showplace, showing that there are crowds and hordes of people at Epcot and making their way throughout the other parks as well. So there's never a slow season at Disney World. More construction, this time in front of the Seas with Nemo and Friends. This is presumably also for a Fastpass Plus type installation, although that hasn't been announced. That takes us to the end of another week. We thank you, as always, for your attention, and we hope to catch you back next week.